You will need to be seated in a brace position for landing.
A 747 flying towards South Africa fills with smoke. A fire has erupted in the cargo area.
A tragic disappearance, a fire in the night, and lingering questions that fuel speculation and intrigue. Here is the story of South African 295, the disappearance of South African Airways Flight 295. On the fateful night of November 28, 1987, a South African Airways Boeing 747 vanished over the Indian Ocean, leaving behind a trail of questions and speculation. With only fragmented evidence, a fire on board before its disappearance, scant wreckage, and damaged cockpit tapes, investigators faced a daunting puzzle. The flight, known as South African Airways Flight 295, was part of the airline's circuitous routes due to international bans resulting from apartheid-era South Africa's pariah status. Operating between Taipei and Johannesburg with a refueling stop in Mauritius, the flight ventured into remote airspace rarely traversed by commercial airliners. Piloted by Captain Dawi Uys, First Officer David Atwell, and Flight Engineer Giuseppe Bellagarda, the Boeing 747 Combi, dubbed the Helderberg, carried a mix of passengers and cargo. Loaded with cargo purportedly containing computer parts, textiles, and medicine, among other items, the flight departed from Taiwan's Chiang Kai-shek International Airport, embarking on a journey fraught with uncertainty and intrigue. Communication with South African Airways Flight 295. In the early hours of November 28, 1987, South African Airways Flight 295, en route from Taipei to Johannesburg with a refueling stop in Mauritius, sent out a distress call to air traffic controllers at Plaisance Airport. The pilot reported a smoke problem on board and initiated an emergency descent to 14,000 feet. Despite the controller's attempts to clarify and assist, intermittent communication issues arose, with snippets of intra-cockpit conversation accidentally transmitted. The crew declared a full emergency as they struggled with electrical failures and attempted to assess the situation. As the aircraft approached the airport, the pilot reported opening a door and sought clearance to track in for landing. However, this was the last transmission received from Flight 295. Despite repeated attempts by the controller to establish contact, the aircraft disappeared without further communication, leaving behind a haunting mystery of its final moments over the Indian Ocean. Search and recovery efforts. Following the distress call from South African Airways Flight 295, a massive search and rescue operation was launched involving aircraft and vessels from Mauritius, South Africa, and the United States. Despite initial inaccuracies in the reported location of the aircraft, search teams scoured the Indian Ocean for 12 hours before any signs of wreckage were spotted. Eventually, an oil slick and scattered debris were discovered, leading to the grim realization that none of the 159 people on board could have survived. As search crews recovered human remains and pieces of the aircraft, evidence of a fire on board began to emerge. Some recovered items showed signs of fire damage, and the timing of the crash was pinpointed to just minutes after the last transmission from the aircraft. Autopsies revealed that all intact victims had inhaled smoke, suggesting the presence of toxic fumes in the cabin before the crash, further deepening the tragedy and underscoring the harrowing ordeal faced by those on board Flight 295. Investigating South African Airways Flight 295. Among the most intriguing discoveries in the aftermath of South African Airways Flight 295 was a fire extinguisher found floating on the ocean surface, untouched despite its proximity to fire-damaged cargo. Another puzzling aspect emerged from missing radio conversations between the aircraft and ground control, raising suspicions and adding to the mystery. To unlock more answers, investigators eagerly awaited access to the wreckage, especially the crucial cockpit voice recorder and flight data recorder. Operation Resolve, a vast international effort, was launched to locate and retrieve the plane, but despite extensive searches, the black boxes remained elusive. Sonar scans eventually located debris fields deep on the ocean floor, necessitating unprecedented efforts to retrieve crucial evidence. After more than a year of detailed preparations, including the construction of record-breaking equipment, salvage teams successfully recovered remnants of the aircraft, shedding light on the sequence of events leading to the tragedy. Despite challenges, the discovery of the cockpit voice recorder provided a pivotal breakthrough, offering crucial insights into the final moments of Flight 295, albeit marred by extensive damage. In the final moments before South African Airways Flight 295 met its tragic end, chaos erupted in the cockpit as a fire alarm sounded, signaling imminent danger. Despite their efforts, the crew's attempts to contain the fire were thwarted by the rapid spread of smoke and flames in the main deck cargo area. As they battled against time and dwindling options, crucial details emerged from the cockpit voice recorder, shedding light on the harrowing sequence of events. However, the recording's deterioration left many crucial moments shrouded in uncertainty. Investigators pieced together fragments of conversations and evidence from air traffic control tapes and wreckage to reconstruct a grim narrative of the flight's demise. Yet, critical questions lingered unanswered, particularly regarding the catastrophic descent in the flight's final moments and the elusive origin of the fire. Theories abounded, from electrical failures to potential pilot incapacitation, but definitive answers remained elusive. The absence of conclusive findings fueled speculation and conspiracy theories, further clouding the already tragic story of Flight 295. Following the fall of apartheid in South Africa, renewed scrutiny fell upon the tragic crash of South African Airways Flight 295. Among the revelations unearthed by the Truth and Reconciliation Commission was the clandestine smuggling of weaponry on commercial passenger flights by Armscor, the corporation supplying the South African military. Allegations surfaced that illegal arms shipments may have sparked the fire that ultimately brought down the Helderberg. Furthermore, alternative theories emerged, with one positing a first fire scenario, suggesting that a small blaze erupted early in the flight, possibly triggered by chemicals in the cargo hold, and was extinguished before reigniting later. However, skepticism abounds regarding this theory, as it conflicts with standard emergency procedures and raises questions about the disappearance of critical evidence. While speculation persists, the exact cause of the tragedy remains elusive, leaving the story of Flight 295 shrouded in uncertainty and conspiracy theories. So that's all for today's video. If you like it, click the like and bell buttons. We'll have another video for you soon. Take care until then.